The body is the center focus of the ego. Is like the ego's best friend. It's the ego's right hand man is the body, because only through the body is the ego able to project the separation and the sacrifice and the duality and experience it. Welcome back to one's journey of unwinding the mind and, of course, your daily microdose. Now tune in to the latest episode of One's Journey. Today I want to talk about becoming more aware of the ego. We talk a lot about how you can't undo something you haven't brought awareness to. And the same goes for the ego. Yes, eventually we want to get to the state where we don't even see the ego, but we're not there yet. So we have to start at becoming aware of how the ego's belief system is showing up in our life, what that looks like, and ultimately then we have the option to choose different. And again, remember, it's an option. It's a choice of a change in perception. You don't have to, but you can. And I'm guessing you want to because you're here. First of all, how does the ego think? The ego thinks at the level of duality, separation, and sacrifice. So when we think of duality, we've talked about it before, but what is duality? Duality is when there is an opposite to something. There is an up, there is a down, there's a left, there's a right, there's a black, there's a white. So duality from the ego's belief system is those extremes, is the statement like the waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's when you have this amazing thing that happens in your life and then all of a sudden something falls apart. That is duality. And the ego, this illusion we live in that the ego has created, is based on duality. We have male, we have female, we have masculine, feminine energy, we have the yin, the yang. Everything you look at has an opposite. Therefore, at any point, you can be in one or the other, meaning that you're constantly on this roller coaster. When you're living in a place of duality, you're going up and down and up and down. And I know this isn't really a part of it, but the other day I was having a conversation with David and we were talking about bipolar. And I used to be diagnosed with bipolar, and some of the characteristics are extreme highs and extreme lows. So really what was going on is I was stuck in the duality roller coaster. I was experiencing something that for someone else may have been a small victory. I was experiencing it as the extreme, and then the opposite. I would crash significantly. And I'll do a completely different episode on that and how I believe bipolar plays out in this illusion and other mental illnesses. But that's a direct example of the duality. All right, so separation. We talk about separation all of the time. That is what we are constantly experiencing here, is separation as a reminder of the tiny mad idea of what we believe happened as the initial separation. So the ego belief system constantly wants you to see yourself as separate from other individuals here, separate from other statuses, other monetary compensation, things like that. It is always a separation. And that's where comparison comes in judgment, and all of the above. But the way in which the ego gets us in that state of separation, the most frequent, is our bodies. Our body is the vessel for the ego. It is the ultimate piece of separation that we are experiencing here. And so when the ego is coming from a place of separation and the body being its ultimate vessel, the ego is constantly seeking of what's best for my body, aka what is best for me, because the ego has us tricked to believe we are a body. Therefore, when we are coming from the ego belief system, it's constantly this, what is best for me and my body? What is best for the body that I believe I am? So that may mean getting money from someone else. That may mean cutting someone off in traffic because you have to get somewhere quicker. That is all the decision we are making in regards to what is best for my body. So also the ego belief system is from sacrifice. And a direct representation of that and how the ego belief system placed its own lens on the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus was the ego belief system has us focusing on the crucifixion, has us focusing on the sacrifice of that. We're sinners. Jesus had to sacrifice. Therefore, that is a direct representation of the ego belief system because we know that Jesus, his crucifixion and resurrection was a symbol of the resurrection, that the body didn't matter. But the ego wants us to believe that the body mattered so much that Jesus had to sacrifice his body for us, and therefore we must sacrifice all of the time. We must experience sacrifice, and the only reason why we experience sacrifice or are open to it is because we are already in a state of separation and viewing ourselves as separate from others, separate from other things, separate from, say you want a Louis Vuitton bag and you want it so bad and you're jealous of everybody else that has it. Well, the only reason why you have those feelings is because you feel separate from it. You feel separate from those who have and you have not, the haves and the have-nots. Separation. But then amongst that comes the sacrifice. You feel like you're sacrificing because you are separate from everything and everyone. And you see other bodies instead of spirit and oneness. When you are in the ego belief system, literally your vision is bodies. You think we are separate. And to take that at an even different level with the New Age movement of we are all connected, there's still a statement that we are souls. We are all individual souls. We just happen to have this connection at the level of consciousness. So that still is a division. And then even within that, consciousness is a division because that is levels of consciousness. So Tommy over there is able to activate or access a higher level of conscious than Susie over there. Therefore, they're experiencing separation. Even in the midst of us trying to find that oneness through a connection of the collective consciousness, we still have done it with the lens of separation on it. Because in true oneness, we are one spirit, one mind. Therefore, again, we are not many connected as one. We are one projected into many. Just like in your dreams at night. Again, if you dream tonight that I'm in your dream, I didn't physically put my body in your mind. I am an image in your mind. Just like everything you are seeing right now, just like watching me in this video, I am just an image in your mind. They are all the same. So the body is the center focus of the ego. It's like the ego's best friend. It's the ego's right-hand man is the body, because only through the body is the ego able to project the separation and the sacrifice and the duality and experience it. Everything from the ego belief system is experienced outside of us. That's why our five senses have us experiencing externally so that we can be reminded of sacrifice and separation constantly. And we also then believe when the ego's belief system believes that we must take from another body to receive for myself, which in fact we know is not true. If we are all abundant in one, if I take from you, I am actually taking from myself. But when we are coming from the ego belief system, because we see ourselves all as individual bodies and we believe we are separate, then I don't acknowledge that you are me and I am you. Instead, I see you as a different entity, aka separation, and I must take from your body to gain for my body. So again, becoming more aware of how the ego thinks and operates is what is going to give you the ability to choose different. And remember, the ego's belief system is always coming from a state of duality, separation, which in turn comes to sacrifice. So You are a body, I'm a body, and the body is the primary vessel for the ego to fulfill its narrative. The body is the ego's best friend. The body is not your temple, my friend. If you are seeking spirit and oneness and one mind and being the dreamer of the dream, then the body is just a vessel within this classroom to help you remember. Not to remember that you are separate, because you are not, but to remember that you are one and that the body is just a tool. The body is not the temple. The body is not the all. And the body can get you in a lot of trouble because it can pull you back into the ego belief system very quickly. Again, ego, separation, duality, and sacrifice. And again, separation, I'm a body, you're a body. These are our biggest separation vessels, the bodies. Duality, the extreme emotions, the placing our emotions and things outside of us. And then the sacrifice is what we experience when we believe that we are separate and we are stuck in a constant state of duality. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I hope it brought you some more awareness around the ego belief system so that you can have an even better understanding of how it's showing up in your life and how it continues to attempt to, so that you can choose different, right? That is our one holy power here, is to choose different, to change our perspective to that of the Holy Spirit's belief system, which is pure non-dualistic oneness and spirit. We are all one mind. We are all one. I am one with you. You are one with me. We are not separate by any means. We just happen to be dreaming that we are. Share, share, share. How did this give you some new eye-openers into the ego's belief system and how it's showing up in your life? If you have any video recommendations, also share. And until next time, as always, remember you are worth it. Much love.